Raymond Lull lived from 1232 to 1315. He is known as the first missionary to the Muslims. When the world around him was lashing out violently against Muslims, Raymond Lull exhibited Christ's heart towards them. Lull was born into a wealthy and distinguished family. He continued to walk in this way of life into his early life and early marriage. Because of Lull's former life of indulgence, his commitment to the Lord after conversion is all the more meaningful. Lull's conversion was pretty dramatic. He was actually writing a song for a married woman when suddenly he had a vision of Jesus Christ on the cross. He couldn't finish the song, obviously, and Lull's conversion was also his call. In that moment, he decided to give his life entirely to serving the Lord. Lull had 9 years in retirement, and after conversion, he decided that he'd spend his whole life specifically in ministry to Muslims. Lull's life was spent training Christians, researching the Muslim faith, and writing Christian truth to combat false beliefs. He also was sent as a missionary to North Africa, and ultimately Lull would die as a martyr in North Africa. I would like to share a few practical examples from Lull's life that we can use today. First, a major practical lesson we can learn from his life is that he was critical of his own culture. He lived when Christian knights were killing Muslims in the name of Christ. They were crusaders, taking the Holy Land by force. But Lull did not submit to this way of thinking. He acted completely counterculturally. He let the Bible speak into his culture instead of manipulating Scripture to support his cause. This reminds me how a lot of Christians fail to see that slavery was not biblical and was not supported by Scripture. As Christians, we must be critical of our culture. Basically, we need to ask, are we reflecting biblical ethics, or are we reflecting ethics that have been approved by our culture? Even more directly, is there prejudice or racism that has been accepted in our churches? Another practical lesson that we can learn from Lull is patience. It is clear that Lull did not believe that the Crusades were biblical, but he didn't completely just renounce the church and break off and let anger take over his life. Instead, he stayed with the Christians in the church, and he decided to teach them about what Muslims believed. Often we are ignorant because, or often we hate because we are just ignorant. And so this can be applied to other groups as well. Educating ourselves and other people that may be different than us or believe differently than us can lead us towards compassion, can lead us to prayer, and then hopefully will lead the church to outreach.